Watu wananiambia we hata kuna kazi ulifanya, kazi yako ilikuwa kulala na watu nini amujui.
The former nominated Senator Gloria Rwoba has spoken out differently after the High Court ordered her to pay 10.5 million Kenyan shillings to Senate Clerk Jeremiah Nyegenye over defamation claims.
Jeremiah Nyegenye, the clerk of the Senate, took me to court on defamation claims. And in fact, this was the funny thing. The matter was brought to Parliament through him, because he's the one that pushed behind the scenes that it was brought to Parliament when I was absent. They discussed it in my absence. I responded when I was in New York through a video. He took the video, and that is the video that he took to say that he was defamed. Now, my claims are still on the table.
Despite the ruling, Rwoba vowed not to stay silent about the sexual harassment she alleges occurred during her tenure in Parliament.
I do believe in the judicial system. That is why I have placed an appeal. I am going to appeal this judgment that has come out. I've had people saying, oh, 10 million, oh, when it rains, it pours, I don't know what. The machinery that is even being used to push this narrative is the UDA machinery that is actually supporting people like Jeremiah Nyegenye to continue with these things that they are doing in Parliament. Every single person that has worked in Parliament or has had an interaction in Parliament will tell you there is sexual harassment in Parliament.
She maintained that no investigations were ever carried out against Nyegenye, despite her repeated complaints. She said, I raised the issue in the Senate with the Speaker and even in the official WhatsApp group. I said clearly that I was being sidelined from foreign trips and legislative discussions because I refused his advances.
I've written an official letter to Parliamentary Service Commission, to the chair of Parliamentary Service Commission, Mr. Wetangula, the Speaker of the National Assembly. They ignored my letter. I have complained within the powers that be in Senate, including to the Speaker. They have ignored all my complaints. I complained in the official WhatsApp group that, listen here, I think because I said I'm not going to sleep with this guy and I don't want to participate in his sexual advances, that is why I am being removed from certain trips and being removed from certain legislative agenda. My bills.
She further urged Kenyans to demand Parliament's travel records, alleging they will expose a pattern of sexual favors being exchanged for trips. She said, ask for the travel report. You will see how billions of taxpayers' money are spent on trips in exchange for sexual favors.
And Kenyans, ask for the travel report so that you can see how your billions of Kenya shillings is being spent in exchange of sexual favors and trips. Because the moment they put out the travel report, you will see Jeremiah Nyegenye in a plane every day with someone and someone and someone. And those are people who are playing ball. You will see the leadership of the house in a plane to wherever constantly with certain people. You will see even the Speaker of the House constantly in some travel with certain people.
Rwoba also referenced a recent incident involving a female MP who was allegedly asked to turn around and show her body, saying it reflects a broader culture of misogyny in Parliament.
Huyo mama ako sawa si sawa? Ako sawa. Hata vile alivyo. Akipinduka mnafurahi siku zote. Wapi vikelekele ya huyu mama? Huyu mama akiwa kwa kitandani si unalala kabisa Utaamuka kesho ingine sio? Atoshi.
Times where we have seen even politicians being put on platforms and being told to turn around so that we can see your behind. This is a culture that somebody has to say no to. And I know that there's a price to pay to say no to that. And I'm willing and ready and capable to pay the price. Because I was raised as a person who does not exchange sexual favors. So how Sabina Chege, actually a woman of her stature and her age, just succumbed to turning around to show her behind. Because that is how the powers that be force it.
She claimed that her resistance to pressure led to harsh disciplinary measures, including a 6-month suspension and a forced apology letter before resuming her duties.
I had no option but to actually walk away from chambers as you have directed, Mr. Speaker. And having said that, I would also want to inform this House that it is happening to me now, but it is going to happen to you in the future. Because I am not fighting anyone. I am actually saying I reported a case. It has not been investigated. And the powers that be are actually influencing a process so that...
The court awarded Nyegenye 8 million Kenyan shillings in general damages and 2.5 million shillings in aggravated damages. Rwoba also risks a 1 million Kenyan shillings penalty if she fails to issue a public apology within 30 days. She accused the ruling UDA party of orchestrating her mistreatment, but reaffirmed her commitment to advocating for women's rights in politics.
I'm not going to make it easy for criminals, rapists. Don't you want to know who has been traveling, where they have been going, who they have been going with, how much they have been spending? How come all the time you're always traveling with so and so? And are you an expert in agriculture, security, sexual rights and reproductive health? Are you an expert in everything such that any trip that comes, you're the only person who can represent the Senate?
In 2023, Rwoba was suspended from the Senate. Rwoba publicly accused Senate officials of demanding sexual favors using WhatsApp messages. Lacking evidence to back her claims, she was found in breach of privilege and suspended, initially for 79 days starting February 2025, later reduced to 30 days. She refused to apologize as prescribed and walked out in protest, citing self-incrimination concerns and unfair gender biases. FIDA Kenya condemned the Senate's hardline approach as discriminatory. Remember, in 2023, Rwoba entered the Senate chamber wearing white trousers with menstrual stain to highlight period poverty and stigma. The speaker asked her to leave for indecorum. She defended it as an accident, turned public statement, and later followed up with actions, including distributing sanitary products at school. Rwoba was also expelled from UDA ruling party on grounds of disloyalty. This because she was attending Fred Matiang's events and criticizing government labor policies. UDA notified the Senate to remove her position. She sought a High Court injunction against the expulsion and removal. The court issued a temporary stay pending further hearing, but criticized procedural issues in her motion. Gloria Rwoba's tenure has been defined by bold advocacy, especially on women's rights and menstrual stigma, clashing with institutional protocols and political affiliations. Her suspension, expulsion, and defamation judgment reflect complex dynamics. Her readiness to speak out versus the legal and political limits she confronted.
Advice and noting that by reading this apology, I will be incriminating myself, noting that this is attached to my work. I find that very unfair. Mr. Speaker, I stand by my dignity and I stand by where I am, and I have no option. Where you have left me, I have no option but to walk away from my duties, because I cannot read an incriminating statement on a matter that has not been investigated,